Here's my second trade analysis for the day, and I always try to include one that didn't go well, that kind of sucked. And this is one that made me the most frustrated for the day. So this is HBI. So the D1 chart on HBI is beautiful. Look at this upsloping algo line, and look at how cleanly it breaks it, and the price action is pretty solid. There's no big chop or anything like that. There's some topping tails, etc. The relative volume is awesome today. It's got relative weakness in a weak sector. It's got everything. This thing is fantastic, right? So I'm looking at the intraday chart, and it's also pretty bearish as well, coming all the way down through here. Now, as soon as I saw the break here, let me see here, around 145. So I see this big juicy candle around 135, and it's a big long compression, and then just wham, like a huge drop candle. And then the second candle, it's not engulfing, it's not coming back, it just can't bounce, and something should want to rebound out of that. So this thing is just crazy weak, right? So we're looking at this candle, and it's confirming this breakdown after HBI is just consolidating or like compressing the whole time. Now, this looks like this on the SPY 5-minute chart. So I'm going across the compression on HBI right now, and you can see SPY is just going up and up and up and up and up. And then that candle right there, that candle that kind of breaks rejection of VWAP twice is what breaks HBI's compression. Holy smokes, this is fantastic, right? So I take a short on this or this candle, one of these two candles, around 1044. And I know that there's some support, but it's not really that much support. This thing is so weak. So there's some beautiful volume on this candle. The D1 chart is fantastic. This thing's been bearish and weak all day. It just spent a whole compression completely denying any upward market motion. And then that 1044 is literally just this tiny little tip. I can't even see it on the screen. That tiny little dip, that little tip right there, that little pivot low a couple days ago, which corresponds to literally the bottom of this D1 candle that's not really anywhere. So I figured, okay, my thesis is that it's gonna hammer straight through this thing. It's gonna be no problem. And it just didn't. So it broke compression. It hung out through here. SPY continues to move down. It doesn't. And then we get this next giant candle to test VWAP a third time, and HBI follows suit. So I'm starting to get kind of worried here. I've only got so much time in this thing. Even though this is respecting it, the reason why I stayed in the trade was because this candle height didn't quite break the half of this breakdown candle. And if you look back over here, these two candles are a lot different, right? So the green SPY candle that made HBI pop back up got a lot closer. So this thing in the price action is still showing relative weakness. And down here on the indicator, it's still showing relative weakness as well. So I just hung around, and lo and behold, we get that big rejection, and then I get an even bigger rejection below, and I'm stoked, but it is not breaking that 1044 point. And so at this time, I'm seeing SPY continue to drop and drop and drop and drop and drop, and HBI is not dropping. And because it's a day where the volume is so low, like I said in the previous time, this is the lowest volume day of the year, I think. It's a lot more dangerous than it looks. The candles look great, but the volume is not great in the market today. So I scratched. I scratched at 1044, literally exactly where I exited, and then watched the rest of this day as this thing just hammers all the way down. It would have been one of my biggest profits, like triple what my normal win would have been. My stop on this thing was the algo line, the upsloping algo line. So it was a 15-cent stop, and it was that algo line right there. So yeah, that's my most frustrating trade of the day. Obviously, if we had a little more volume in the market, I probably would have held it a little bit longer. If it broke that 1044, I would have added to it. But like I said, today it's just so freaky deaky right before the FOMC. You don't want to take any chances. That's HBI. Sometimes things don't go your way, but I'm still happy with how I picked that trade and how I handled it.